Is Milei more of a Rothbard person or a Mises person? You might think that this is a distinction without a difference. Milei has spoken highly of both men, but there is a difference between the two, which we will get into in this video. Here are a couple clips that show the difference between Mises and Rothbard when it comes to ethics.
Rothbard and Mises differ, and that is the question: is ethics objectively true? View that moral judgments are objectively true, then those people are wrong. It isn't just a matter of opinion. Now, Mises and Rothbard took different positions on this issue. Mises was a subjectivist. He thought that if we're talking about value judgments or statements of what's good or bad, then in his view, it doesn't make sense to say that there's some objective truth in the matter.
So according to Mises, there's no such thing as an objective ethics. Although he does, as the presenter shows later, he says that if you add another assumption such as human flourishing, you can get to an objective result. There's even a debate in Austrian economics between radical subjectivists and just subjectivism. And this has led to some very strange things. For instance, I've gone to a number of excellent talks by Austrian economists, but they end with this statement. They say, I can tell you the results, but I can't tell you what choice you should make. I believe that Mises' subjective ethics are the result of his subjective theory of value, and that one has to follow the other according to him. Rothbard, on the other hand, believes in objective theory of ethics, as this next clip shows.
I want to say something about Rothbard's views. Rothbard, I should say, I'm much more inclined to a Rothbardian view than a Misesian one on this. You can take that in Rothbard's view, which is based on Aristotle and St. Thomas Aquinas. We can, just by thinking about human nature, we could come up with what the requirements are for living a good, flourishing life. What do people need to flourish? And we could draw up a list of what qualities are required. And this, again, is based on Aristotle and Aquinas, but with one crucial difference, as I'll bring out. So we could say human beings are rational animals, so we need to develop and use our reason. We need friendship. We need to engage in activities we find enjoyable. So we could draw up a list of what people need for a flourishing life. We could draw up the constituents. We could draw up a list of constituents of such of what human beings need. And based on this list, we could say, this is how people should live their lives. So it isn't up to you to decide whether you want to live your life that way, in the sense that if you choose not to, then that's just, you made your choice. Rothbard would say, if you don't live that way, you're not living in accord with man's essence.
On the one hand, we have Mises, who says all ethical systems are subjective. On the other hand, we have Rothbard, who says ethics is objective. But what difference does it make? Well, if ethics is subjective, then law is subjective, because law is based on ethics. They're not the same thing, but they're related to each other. One is built on the foundation of the other. And you end up with this strange situation of libertarians arguing that you can't judge their actions because you don't know their circumstances exactly. So we can't imprison a murderer because we don't know his exact circumstances. Sounds a lot like moral relativism. Getting back to economics, it means there's no objective standard for property rights. Thus, we have no way of determining whether you or I have the proper property rights in a certain piece of land. Subjectivist Austrians attempt to resolve this problem by saying property rights are utilitarian. Thus, the proper property rights are the ones that give us the best outcome for the best number of people. To many libertarians, contracts are primary and property rights are secondary. This is not Milei's position, as this next clip will show.
The market is a mechanism of social cooperation where property rights are voluntarily exchanged.
By Milei's definition of a market, property rights are primary. You have to have property rights in order to voluntarily exchange them, so we have to know what property rights are. While Milei doesn't define what property rights are, he does say that we have three inalienable rights: life, liberty, and property. And he also follows the ideas of Rothbard, who tells us that we have property rights because we have self-ownership. Thus, Milei is not a subjectivist. He believes in an objective theory of ethics, and he believes in an objective theory of law.
The state of law is a concept that is based on the fundamental idea that all citizens have inalienable natural rights, among which is the right to life, liberty, and property.
But he's also clear that in economics, he believes in the subjective theory of value. I think that this issue can be resolved. Instead of calling it the subjective theory of value, it's a subjective theory of prices. The value that we're talking about is only economic value. We're not talking about all values of an item. So I would say Milei is more of a Rothbardian than he is a Misesian. Long live freedom, damn it.